You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Look, I've gotten a lot of feedback, obviously, from Ole Miss fans this week. I made a declaration that I think LSU is going to win the game and that I think Ole Miss is not the seventh best team in the country. And look, as what happens on the internet, it's triggered a lot of people. Do you think it's more me picking LSU or me saying I don't think Ole Miss is the seventh best team in the country?
You know, I just find it deplorable on your part that you would have an opinion on something as controversial as college football, right? I mean, you know, we're not supposed to have opinions on this stuff. I mean, this is life and death, man. I mean, the losers get executed Saturday night, isn't that right? I mean, it's so stupid that people get so worked up about this. It's dumb.
Well, they love their team.
No, I don't know what it is. I mean, look, here's the deal. I mean, Ole Miss people get mad at me for saying this, but it's the truth. Ole Miss has won 18 of its last 21 games as a program, which is really rarefied air. I mean, the only programs in the country that can say better are it's Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. Okay, that's it. And I just don't think Ole Miss people are used to winning like this, and I think it makes them kind of nervous.
No, and I get it. I do. You look for validation, so I do get that. And I'm curious if that validation comes this weekend. If Ole Miss does come into Baton Rouge and win, do you feel that would be validating for not a program validating game, but for this team that would prove, hey, they're really a contender to beat anyone on the schedule?
Well, yeah, because at some point you're running out of games, right? So
right.
In a scenario where Ole Miss goes to Baton Rouge and wins, that's 8-0. You're 2/3 of the way through the schedule, and you're frankly at that point one win away from a matchup against Alabama in which if you won, and again I'm saying if you won, for the record, I don't think Ole Miss is winning its next 3 games, not all of them, but if you were to beat LSU and you were to beat Texas A&M, you play Alabama for a right to win the SEC outright, basically in Week 10. So that's a really big deal. So yeah, would it be validating? I think so. I mean, if you go to LSU and you win, it probably tells people that yeah, you're more for real than those people who doubt them.
That's a great point too. The math works that way because then even if Ole Miss would lose 2, they would have a head-to-head tiebreaker over Alabama. So that is a great point. If they were to win this week,
I mean, look, if Ole Miss. If Ole Miss beats LSU, Texas A&M, and Alabama in the next 4 weeks, they have an open date between A&M and Alabama, they win the West. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge if, but that's a mathematical fact.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a lot on the line, man. Okay, well, yeah, because they would beat LSU. Absolutely, yeah, that is. Man, that there is a lot on the line when you say it that way. All right, let's talk about this team, Neil. I think when people think about Lane Kiffin, they always think about the creative offense, the passing. This team obviously has run it so much more. Why has this team been more effective running the football than they have throwing the football?
You know, Matt, I think it's the thing about Lane that doesn't get appreciated enough is that for some reason, I think it's his social media and all that stuff. People think of him as this wide open, crazy pass guy. He's done some of that, but I think it's preferable for him that they're a run-oriented team. And they've got a couple of really good backs in Zach Evans, Quinshon Judkins, the freshman, who's going to be a really talented player. They've been able to run. Their offensive line is better suited for run blocking than it is pass blocking. They've got a quarterback in Jackson Dart who's pretty good with his feet, who's a tough kid, who has been an effective runner when they've wanted to run. So I think it's just that. I think it's what they do well. I mean, if you go back to his years at Alabama, he had a year with Derrick Henry where they ran it. And then he had a year with Cooper, the old wide receiver, Amari Cooper, where they threw it all over the place. I just think Lane's gift as an offensive mind, Brian Kelly talked about this earlier this week, his ability to kind of take what his team does well and focus on it and utilize it and maximize it.
How good's the offensive line?
It's very solid as a run blocking unit. It's okay pass blocking. You got a couple of redshirt freshmen at tackle, both right and left. Nick Broker, who's been in the SEC forever, moved from tackle to guard. He's a pretty solid pass blocker. They're okay as a pass blocking group. They're really good as a run blocking group. They're physical. I think they like to kind of get nasty a little bit. They lost their tight end, Michael Trigg, but The guy behind him is Chad Kelly's brother Casey, who's more of a run blocker than he is a pass blocker. So, I think as a unit they're more effective in the run game than they are in the pass game.
He's on Twitter at Neil McCready, rebelgrove.com. The offense has had times this year where they've had lulls. I think you and I have talked about that. When they have slowed, what's been the bugaboo?
Oh, it's a great question. As a team, it's the one thing that's really been the most interesting with them is that they have these periods where they look like a top 10 team, like a legitimate top 10 team where you're like, whoa, these guys are good. And then they follow them up with these lulls where they look very average, maybe even a little below average at times. I don't know what that's attributed to, frankly. I don't know whether that's just it's my theory, and it would be nothing but a theory, is that you've got this program where you have a whole bunch of transfer portal guys. They've never really played together. It's a season of first, and I think chemistry is a developing thing that happens over time with any team, and with a team that has this many transfers, it really takes time. I think that's what I'd go with, but I wouldn't want to bet a lot of money on it, Matt.
Let's flip the field and talk about that defense. And the thing that seems to be the cornerstone is they create pressure, they get sacks, TFLs, turnovers. What's the key to all of that working?
Well, for them, it's pretty basic stuff. They're good up front. Like, they're deeper than they've been up front in a while. But there's no Sam Williams on this team. So Cedric Johnson's been hurt the last couple of weeks. His absence has been a big deal for them. They need him healthy. They've got a better year out of Tavius Robinson on the other end than they've probably ever had from him before. He's been very impactful. They're deep at defensive tackle. They've been impactful there. They've got some linebackers. They brought in Troy Brown, a transfer from Central Michigan, who's been really good. He's been kind of banged up the last couple of weeks. I don't know the answer to your question, honestly. Here's the thing about Ole Miss's defense, right, is that so far this season, look, it's not their fault. They've played the schedule that's been put in front of them, and they've won. But they've yet to play a team that has really had the outside guys that can stress the secondary, that can maybe have big play capability. Some of that with Kentucky with Barry and Brown, but Kentucky's offense is not really set up the way that I'm talking about. I think LSU's kind of is. LSU with Jaden Daniels, he's going to try to extend plays, and they've got those receivers. Butte's fantastic. I mean, the last time Ole Miss played at Tiger Stadium, I think Butte had like 3,000 yards receiving or something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, it was like, I don't know, 3,200 yards or something. I don't remember. I mean, he just kept running. I mean, but nobody's tried that on them. So can they stop that? I don't know. I mean, maybe. They love their corners. They have a freshman named Davison Igbinosun that they're just super high on. And so far this season, he's been great. But this will be the first big test. So, I mean, they want to put LSU into third and long, and then they've got to figure out a way to contain Daniels, and then they've got to make plays in the open field in much the same way that I've read some of the things you've said and listened to you. And LSU wants Daniels to throw some 50-50 balls to those talented wide receivers, and nobody's done that against Ole Miss so far this year. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. The odds makers have this as a 2-point game, so special teams could be key. LSU's been really bad on special teams this year. How's Ole Miss?
Ole Miss is really good in special teams, Matt. And I think, I do a show with Tyler Siskey, and we were talking about this earlier today. I think there are a couple of disadvantages that are pretty interesting, and I think this is one for LSU that they have to kind of overcome because they've been bad, as you said, on special teams, and Ole Miss has been really good on special teams. I mean, it's probably an area that LSU's probably, if you get inside their building, they're probably a little concerned about it. And, in the same way that for Ole Miss, they probably look at LSU and go, hey, a little worried about those skill guys, a little worried about those guys on the outside. Can we stop them? Can we contain them? And can we prevent the big play from happening against us? Those are probably the things that both programs are talking about.
Hey, Neil, last thing, and always appreciate your time. What is Lane Kiffin's got his blueprint to win this game in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. How does the game look?
For Ole Miss to win it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they continue to run the football. They run it effectively. Auburn stacked the box and didn't work. I think in Ole Miss's ideal world, LSU probably does some of the same stuff. It doesn't work. And then, maybe Jonathan Mingo hits a big play. Maybe they do some of that stuff where they take advantage of LSU having to, put just the math not working out defensively. And then defensively, I think it's pretty simple. I think it's you create some turnovers, you contain Jaden Daniels, and maybe you get him back into that mode where he doesn't want to take chances. And, you build a lead and you make LSU one-dimensional, and you kind of hope for the best at that point. Tiger Stadium is one of those crazy places. You know this a lot better than I do, but it can be a great it typically is a great home field advantage, but sometimes it goes against the home team a little bit. The fans aren't afraid to let the home team know they're a little pissed at them. So sometimes that turns on them a little bit. So, I think it's you get ahead, you stay ahead, and you make them a little one-dimensional, and maybe you take advantage of what has been, I don't know if it's a special teams mismatch. I don't think that's the right word, but just one team has been pretty efficient in that category and one hasn't.
Yeah, LSU's been bad, not inefficient. They've been bad. I mean, it's okay to say they've been bad on special teams for sure. Do you know what uniform combo Ole Miss is wearing?
The fans want them to wear the powder helmet and the red jersey and the gray pants.
Yeah.
That has not been something that Lane goes to very often. If you made me guess, assuming that LSU's wearing the white top, I would guess Ole Miss wears powder.
Okay.
With white pants and probably the powder top. If you told me they did something crazy like white helmet, red jersey, white pant, I'd buy it.
Okay. I've said it before. The powder blue helmet, the red jersey, the gray pant, cleanest looking uniform in college football. It's a shame when you have something that's so choice that you don't do it all the time. I just don't get it. But,
Well, I mean, you've made Ole Miss fans mad a lot this week, but when you say that, you'll make them happy because a lot of the traditionalists feel the exact same way.
But they don't wear it. It's so crazy.
No.
Why don't you wear it?
No,
It's going to be so good. Wear it.
I think Kiffin, man, I think he leaves it up to his players, and as long as his players win, he lets them pick the uniform that they want to wear. And so if you made me guess, I'd guess powder top and white pants.
Well, good. Because I believe in psychology of that stuff. Go wear your little baby blues. It'll serve LSU well. How about that? All right, Neil McCready from Rebel Grove. I appreciate you, man. We'll see you later.
All right, Matthew. See you soon.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.